Hello, my name is Brianna Dunkel, and this is my final project in American Literature Cultures. This past semester, we explored geocriticism and how it allows a diversity of perspectives into the realities of different groups of people, and how their experiences within their surroundings create vivid images that encourage the reader to empathize and understand the significance of each author's and character's story. The different themes that we reviewed are gender, mental health, nature, and race. Our first topic of nature, we see how women in literature were often not treated as equal and how they expressed their emotions about this through their writing. In the poem Prologue by Anne Bradstreet, she recalls the unequal treatment of female writers on the basis of sex. She uses verbal irony and Greek mythology references to create a space where these ideas are perpetuated. In The Storm by Kate Chopin, through her story, she discusses naturalism through primal instinct. By discussing the sexual desires of women, she challenges the social practice of ignoring the desires of women and challenges the divinity of humankind. In this quote from the prologue, we see how Anne Bradstreet criticizes her own work through a frame of a male's perspective to show the constant discrimination that they experienced as female writers. In The Storm by Kate Chopin, we see how she discusses the passion of this character that was not often regaled nor even discussed in society. The second theme is mental health, as we see how mental health dictates how we see and experience the world around us. So too the authors expand on this. In Edgar Allan's Poe, The House of Usher, he uses Gothic imagery to reflect the mental state of his characters and stimulates all the senses through his writing to create a space of challenging what the reader considers real versus what is not. In The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Gilman, she uses imagery of the wallpaper to depict mental illness and the dismissal it may receive, especially when experienced by a woman. Gilman shows how, when left untreated, mental illness will grow, like the relationship between the protagonist and the wallpaper. We see here that Edgar Allan Poe uses a character hearing things that others do not hear to show how mental illness and Gothic imagery can go hand in hand in showing the different symptoms. The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Gilman, here we see how the character becomes fond with the wallpaper and how the relationship develops as her mental illness also continues to develop. Our third theme is nature, and we see how nature is often seen as omnipresent, and without this type of space or environment, certain stories cannot occur. After Apple Picking by Robert Frost, we see how he uses the imagery of nature and of fruits to allude to the choices and decisions made throughout one's life and the regret one may feel in missing opportunities. He lends hopefulness and good faith and in more chances to experience life. In O Pioneer by Willa Cather, she uses the protagonist character to point out the natural connections women have to nature. Alexandra's free will is often seen as the will of nature. She also shifts to the natural scenery as it changes to a new space and perspective that allows the author to tell the story in a different way. And after Apple Picking, we see how he uses the imagery of the ladder sticking towards heaven to show hopefulness, but also to show sadness and that there is a barrel or an opportunity that he did not take. In O Pioneer, we see how she uses the character Alexandra to show her connection with nature. Our last topic is race, and we often see how race is a characteristic that is used to divide a group or people and show that there is a clash between a group that is often a majority versus a minority. In Mother Tongue by Amy Tan, we see how she criticizes the burden that broken English speakers experience because language proficiency is often associated with intelligence. In Raising of the Sun, we see how Hansberry illustrates how physical space can impact the mental and physical health and well-beings of different characters. She uses dwellings to show how they can hinder evolutions of circumstances and opportunities, and how race is often an inhibitor of the types of limited spaces available. In Mother Tongue, we see her discuss how she never thinks of her mother's English as broken, but wholesome, as it is the language shared between her and her family. In Raisin of the Sun, we see Hansberry show how a man from a majority population of white people will discriminate against this black family because of the color of their skin and tell them that they are not allowed to move and find different opportunities. These works examine how a space created by and for individuals affect their stories and behaviors. By understanding the spaces, we can find a deeper understanding of the choices and developments and become more empathetic as we